This will be my last class and the most important, how to read. And many people know how to read human words, but not very many people understand how to read God's words. And yes, it is an instinctive process to read God's words that they left here for us on this planet. But it's something, if you understand it, you can do it way better. And here's the thing. God is an element of eternal consciousness that exists, forever. God has existed forever. And their words have existed forever. And the way of their communication process has existed forever. So the simple fact is, human words didn't exist in an eternity, you know what I'm saying? And the Word of God existed in an eternity. So books can't be the Word of God. That's another reason why books can't be the Word of God. But anyway, nature is the Word of God. Everything God created. This water, these stones, these trees, this dog, these bugs flying around me, this air. Basically everything God created, they place their words in it. And God being an element of consciousness, their words are the same, consciousness. And yes, there's no squiggly lines to read the exact words, but here's how the Word of God works, or whatever. We observe these things that, God created, with our mind that God created, And when we do that, we gain understandings, conscious understandings, the language of God. And we gain these conscious understandings by observing their creation, And we gain the same understandings that are always gained. And yes, it's the same message throughout time. It's the exact same message. But there's a lot of different advice that, people need. So there's gangs and gangs of different types of advice on how to live your life and whatnot, But here's the thing you need to understand. God wrote our Bible, if you want to call it our Bible, you could call it that. They wrote the Bible for all life to include this dog. This dog reads from the Bible too, just like all humans do. We just don't realize it. And the thing is, we gain all these conscious understandings that God placed in their creation. And when we gain these understandings, we're able to do stuff like eat food. We know what to eat. We know how to build shelter. We know how to live our lives. We know how we should reproduce. Different things like that. And then, we get into philosophy questions, we answer them, based on the understandings in our mind. And then when it comes to other questions, spiritual questions, religious questions, how should I live my life? Is there a God? Does God exist? Do you exist, God? Stuff like that. Who are you? Stuff like that. All kinds of questions about God. But anyways, if you want to know this stuff, you want God's wisdom, put the book down. Because think of it like this. All the major religion books, not all of them, because they go back further than Moses. But most of them today, like the major ones, they started with Moses. I have a simple question for you to explain why, God's creation is actually the Word of God, and why books can be inspired by the Word of God, as in what Moses did, but they are not the Word of God. And simply put, what? It's like, what more can I say, We gain these understandings. We strengthen our mind naturally the way God intended. We gain God's wisdom, That book that you have, I'm sure that religious book you have, there's lots of things you don't understand in that book. Whether it be a Bible, a Torah, Quran, or even a Book of Mormon, Any of those books. There's things in there you don't understand. And if you deny that, you're a liar. That's the truth. And the thing is, those books came from the understandings in God's creation. So if there's things in your book you can't understand, go to the source. Go to the source of the book. Go to the pure source that inspired the book that you believe is the Word of God, that was only inspired by the Word of God, This is the Word of God. This is the Word of God. You know what I'm saying? In any case, if you don't understand that, I don't know what to tell you. It's what it's all about, anyway. It's what it's all about, right? The Word of God, getting God's divine wisdom, stuff like that. But in any case, if there's things you still seek to understand, immerse yourself in God's creation. That's what everybody in religious books did. And the truth of the matter is, if those people in the religious books, and there's many of them, didn't immerse themselves in God's creation, they wouldn't have gained the understandings that God placed for them in their creation, and they wouldn't have been in those books because they wouldn't have led the right lives, and they wouldn't have been able to write stuff down that, was obviously wisdom of, like, divine wisdom type of stuff, you know what I mean? But anyways, it's here for you, it's here for you. And if you understand, God's a element of consciousness, and that they wrote their words with consciousness in their creation, if you can't understand that, I can't help you. But if you can understand that, come out here, anywhere on the planet that's natural, come here. I like it here. This is one of my favorite spots. If you sit here your whole life, you spend every day of your life sitting here, you'll come to understand all kinds of shit about God and all kinds of spiritual wisdom and all kinds of stuff like that, And you gain your own advice. In any case, I feel like my work is done. Because this whole world's fucked up, And the main reason, I think, is just people don't know how to use their brains, People's minds aren't naturally strengthened by the understandings that God placed in their creation, And that's what we need. We need the wisdom. We need God's wisdom. And when I say God, I'm not talking about any version of God that exists. I'm talking about the most simple understanding of God in my mind. An element of eternal consciousness. That's God to me, But hey, I understand all kinds of shit, So I don't think that there was a man in eternity, which is forever, I don't think there was a man in eternity with a penis. A lot of people do. They say God's a man, has a penis, was up in heaven for eternity with a penis, Like, honestly, what's a man going to do with a penis for eternity by themselves? That's a simple question that, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense for God to be a man. It doesn't make any sense for God to be a human. It doesn't make sense for God to have human emotions needed for survival. It doesn't make sense for God to have eyes or a mouth, God can see without eyes. God can speak without a mouth. In any case, read the Word of God. This world's jacked up. This world needs God's wisdom right now. And the truth of the matter is, our religious leaders, it's not hard to see. Our religious leaders, they may know some stuff, but they're really dumb as shit. There, I said it. They're dumb as shit. In any case, not that they're dumb as shit, it's just they don't understand shit, and they believe stuff that they were taught, even though they don't understand it. But the thing is, the Word of God, it's something you can understand. So if you don't understand something, it's not the Word of God. I'm out.